Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about all the matchups that we all should be keeping an eye on for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 1 matchup versus the Dallas Cowboys. If you guys are new here, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button if you do enjoy these types of videos, and let me know which matchups you're going to be keeping an eye on in the comment section down below. But you know, guys, this is it, right? The preseason is done. We are now starting off not just the 2021 regular season for the NFL, but it is the start of a new Tampa Bay Buccaneers season and their road to repeat for a second Super Bowl in a row. Will they do it? We will have to wait and see. But let's start off here in Week 1 with the Dallas Cowboys. And the first matchup that I think we all should be paying attention to going into this upcoming game with the Buccaneers versus the Cowboys is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers running backs and tight ends versus the Dallas Cowboys linebackers. They have got some very, very good linebackers over there in Dallas. You have Jaylon Smith, you have Leighton Vander Esch, you have Micah Parsons, you've got Keanu O'Neal. Those four guys could all be starters for a good amount of defenses around the league in the NFL, and they are all compiled into one defense here for the Dallas Cowboys. So I think it is a safe thing to say that the Buccaneers running backs and tight ends do have a very interesting, and I would even say difficult matchup here for sure. You're going to be looking at guys like Ronald Jones, like Leonard Fournette. You're also going to be looking at tight ends like Rob Gronkowski, like O.J. Howard. How are these guys going to perform in terms of receiving the ball, running the ball, blocking? These are all many different types of things that I think are very much going to be worth paying attention to, because again, this could very well end up being a very difficult matchup for the running backs and the tight ends for the Bucs. They definitely should not go into this taking that group of linebackers lightly, because you could argue that's one of the best linebacking groups in the NFL, period, in my opinion. So that's definitely going to be an important matchup to pay attention to. The second matchup I think that we should all be paying attention to going into this upcoming game is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pass rush versus the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. I will probably talk about this a little bit later on in the week in terms of game preview type videos, but the Cowboys are getting healthier on the offensive side of the football. They had dealt with a lot of injuries to a lot of important positions in the past couple of years, the offensive line being one of the main problems there in terms of nagging injuries, guys being out, and all these other different types of things. They're healthier now. They're the healthiest they've been probably in a good chunk of time, and this could be, again, another difficult matchup, because the Cowboys' offensive line is not too many years removed from being, basically undeniably the best offensive line in football. A good amount of those guys are still there. There's been some changes here or there with some of the starters, but overall, you still got Lyle Collins. You've still got, I believe, Zach Martin is still there. I believe Tyron Smith is still there as well. Those three guys alone all are, very much in terms of the top at their respective positions. So I'm looking at Shaq Barrett. I'm looking at Jason Pierre-Paul. I'm looking at Joe Tryon and Anthony Nelson as well. And those guys are going to have to go in there and get some of that work done. And I trust them. They are one of the better edge rushing units in the entire NFL. I don't think that that is a biased thing to say. I think that that is a fair thing to say. Shaq Barrett is not far removed from 19 and a half sacks in a year. Jason Pierre-Paul, since he has come over from the New York Giants, has been wonderful, phenomenal, and combining both those guys' efforts and a great rotational edge rusher in the young rookie Joe Tryon, this one can just be two cars smashing into each other type of matchup, man. It's going to be an exciting thing to watch. The greatness of the Buccaneers edge rushers versus, the greatness of the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. Let's just watch the fireworks, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking whenever I look at that matchup on paper. The third matchup that I think is going to be important going into this upcoming game is going to be Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. I'll even throw him in there as well, versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers front seven. Yes, the Dallas Cowboys offensive line, and yes, the Buccaneers edge rushers are going to play a factor in this matchup, but when I'm saying front seven, that's kind of a formality. I'm not really talking about the edge rushers as much because we already did mention them and kind of their big matchup. No, when I say front seven, yeah, you can include the edge rushers, but I'm mainly thinking of guys like Will Golston, Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh. I'm thinking of Lavonte David and Devin White. Those are the 5 guys that I'm thinking of, right, who are going to be the main catalysts for this run defense, which last year was, the top run defense in the entire NFL. Can they keep that continuity? Can they keep that going? Vita Vea is healthy. That is huge. We will talk about him more in a future video, but they're also going up against Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, one of the better backfields in the entire NFL, period, right? I mean, Ezekiel Elliott is a beast. We all know this. Tony Pollard is an excellent complement to him. I'm just giving credit where credit is due here, guys. But, again, the Buccaneers are coming off multiple years where they have been the best run defense in the entire NFL. So, you could very arguably here give the edge to the Buccaneers run defense going into this upcoming game, but I think you guys do remember, it wasn't last year, I believe it was the year before, where the Buccaneers just had this insane stretch of games where they were going up against Todd Gurley, Saquon Barkley, like all these great running backs in their prime, Christian McCaffrey as well. It's kind of a similar situation to start off this year as well, starting off with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. Those guys can get some work done, but again, they're going up against some big boys. Devin White, Lavonte David, Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, and Will Golston. I mean, that's going to be a fun one. I mean, just point blank, that's going to be a fun one. Let's see what happens in regards to that. You might get, I would say that you would give the edge here to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers front seven, considering they've had one of the best, if not the best run defenses in the entire NFL for multiple years now. So let's just see what happens, baby. The second to last matchup I have us all needing to keep an eye on here going into week number 1 is going to be the Buccaneers wide receiver trio versus the Dallas Cowboys wide receiver trio. And I know that these two units aren't going to be, directly head-to-head going up against each other, but depending on how this game goes, I mean, these two trios are really going to have to go out there and make some noise, make some fireworks, if you will. I'm looking obviously at the Buccaneers wide receiver trio being Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown. I think there's no debate. That's the best wide receiver trio in the entire NFL. But there are some people, who would argue that the Dallas Cowboys with Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and some of the other guys that they've got there, they have the best wide receiver trio in the NFL. So this is almost kind of like a, hey, let's prove it type thing. Which wide receiver trio is the top there? Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper, those three guys are very good, but, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, and Chris Godwin, I mean, that is what it is. You've got two Hall of Famers right there, right? With the Buccaneers wide receiver trio. So, we'll see. I expect both units to do extremely well. I'll talk about this more later on this week, but this could very well be a shootout type of game. Considering both teams, if they are healthy and both offenses are firing on all cylinders, it could very well be a high-scoring game. So let's see which wide receiver trio outperforms the other. I mean, again, right now you've probably got to get, you've got to give the edge to the Buccaneers wide receiver trio. They've got two future Hall of Famers in there right now, and Chris Godwin, who's the number one on a lot of different teams' rosters. But Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb, that's a pretty good trio in their own right as well. So let's just see these two wide receiver trios go to work. Let's see the fireworks and, pay attention to both those groupings there. But finally, guys, the last matchup that I have us all needing to pay attention to going into week 1, Buccaneers versus Cowboys. It is just Tom Brady versus Dak Prescott. Tom Brady, he's entering his second year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's going to be a wonderful thing to see. Of course it is. It still blows my mind. I mean, look over here. It blows my mind to see Tom Brady in a Buccaneers uniform still to this day. It does not feel real. So that's going to be a storyline. The Buccaneers just won the Super Bowl. They're on the quest to repeat. and Tom Brady's at the helm of it all. Dak Prescott, he's coming back from a, brutal ankle injury last year. He's had a long journey of recovery with a lot of highs and a lot of lows as well. And, at the end of the day, these are just two really good quarterbacks squaring off. It's worth paying attention to. I always like two good quarterbacks going head-to-head. Tom Brady is the GOAT, of course. And then, me personally, I think that Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. I think that, a lot of people really, rag on him when, it's not really necessary. I think that Dak Prescott can get the job done as a starting quarterback in this league. I think he is a top half quarterback in this league when he is fully healthy and ready to go. So this is just going to be two good quarterbacks going head to head against each other, with Tom Brady being the GOAT, Dak Prescott being, a guy entering his prime right now, returning from an injury. Is he going to be a little bit rusty, or is he going to go out there and do Dak Prescott things that we've seen him do in the past? Let's see what happens. But it's always a great game when Tom Brady's there, and because he's the GOAT, of course, and it always helps whenever he's got a guy like Dak Prescott who he's going up against to make it a good game as well. So, guys, that is going to be it for this video. Let me know what you think about all these matchups that I talked about down in the comment section down below. Again, what other matchups are you guys going to be keeping an eye on going into this upcoming game? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. But anyway, guys, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.